Yeah. So we're now live. Right. Um, Good evening, everybody. Good afternoon in some places in the States. And I know in the Philippines, a lot of you are still, oh, it's 7 o'clock in the Philippines. Good morning in the Philippines. So this is the test
Mm.
run for episode 388, okay, for FMA discussion. And we have tonight, should I say, Mr. Nobody. My good friend Alex Ercia of Calis Ilustrísimo.
Eh, I,
I did. Okay, so guys, you know the drill. If ever you're watching this podcast, please say hi. Tell us where you're watching from, and if you got any question for Guru, for Alex, if you want him to address it now, we will do so. If not, we can reserve it for Sunday. Or by the way, you might be wondering why the long interval between the test run and the actual interview, because we normally do just a test run and actual interview um, a day before. But because Alex is going to go to Florida and you're going to be attending um, spring camp, is it?
we're doing the
In
Combatan
Florida.
annual camp under Shelly Mill Spa and organized by Shelly, Dan Loman, Damon, and June
All right.
Occidental. So we
So
do
yeah,
this
I need to catch
annually.
Alex before he goes to the airport and fly over to Florida. So on Sunday, we will be doing the interview while Alex is in Florida, and for the reason that he's going to be doing some demos. Yay! All right. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Let's say hi to some people here. So you got Dean Franco. Dean said, "Glad he has decided to come on." Yep, as some of our good friends actually have been saying, yep, at last. Took a long time. um, then we've got Steve Mallet. Hello, Guru Alex Ercia. Ace Ramirez. Hello from New Jersey, USA.
Hey, Steve.
Eric O'Brien. What's up,
Hey, Alvin.
guys? Lakbay Sadiwa. Magandang umaga.
Hey,
Alvin Albano. Hello, gentlemen. Uh, yep, Steve says, say hi. Alvin said, want you from San Francisco.
Eric,
Yep.
friend.
Alvin said, nice. Looking forward to the demos. All right. Um, before I before I start, um, Manong Tini actually asked to ask you who was the handsomest escrimador that you recently met. I think I think it's already referring to who.
Conrad. Um, Siyempre, I'm talking to him right now. Yung
Yeah,
pinakagwapo.
yeah, no, that's Manong Tini man. Okay. Conrad says, hi, Guru Alex. Okay. So,
I know.
I mean, we've known each other for more than a decade now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
Plus, we trained in Batangas
yes, we trained with Batangas, and we have
with our
basically, yeah, we have been like, we've always been exchanging, sharing, like informations and everything regarding like FMA, and we pretty much share similar views when it comes to FMA and of course the politics in FMA. But it's not going to be that this time. Basically, what we're going to share with them is your journey to martial arts. Because although you are um, you are Calisthenics Strisimo, but is it before that you were also like modern Chinese, and you were like you were you Yeah,
Yes.
you were
High school
basically
battalion.
like very active in the FMA and martial arts scene in the Philippines. I mean, for since you were a teenager, and you pretty much know most of the big names
Yep.
of FMAers in the Philippines. So there. Oh, antokin ako. Paul said, hello, Pogi. Okay, so, bro, um, what inspired you to take up martial arts and Filipino martial arts? So, whichever came first.
So I actually started with my father. My father was a Shotokan instructor who studied with the JKA in Taiwan. And so I don't know how old I started. All I know is that when I was a kid, when I was part of the dojo and my dad was teaching. And so as I grew up, my father, kept on talking about uh, an famous arnisador who was his neighbor, Tandang Ubong. My dad is from Calamba, Laguna, and Tandang Ubong at that time was like the most famous arnisador and fighter in Laguna. And so people would visit him, and my dad would watch. My dad said he was exposed to FMA at an early age, like 8 and 9. He was already watching Tandang Ubong teach during the full moon, and there are times where he would be ambushed while he's sweeping his yard, and he disarmed whoever tried to attack him, and that's how he became quite famous. Just like in Paite, every fiesta there was
Hmm.
a demo during the town fiesta, which is June 24th. So my dad decided at around while I was 10 years old that we were moving
Okay.
back to the Philippines. So he tricked us to move back to the
Tricked us.
Philippines.
Tricked you.
And we were going to go to California, right? And my mom was set to go to California and stay, but he says, "No, we're going to take a detour to because I have this job I have to do at the base in QB Point,
Yeah.
and then next thing we know, we had a house. He was building in his hometown, and we were, he's the one who told me the story. Tantang Ubong was the best, and we'll find somebody who studied under him. I heard all these stories, and he bought me Professor Remy Press's pink book, the big manual,
All right.
Modern Arnis, stick fighting, and we were, studying that. And then, we couldn't find anybody. My dad tried to ask the tricycle drivers and the jeepney drivers, everything. We owned a store in the Palenque. We were asking around, and then we finally found somebody who knew, but Tandang Ubong, he passed away, so nobody discontinued his
Oh,
art.
wow. I done.
What happened was uh, my my uh, my my Kuntao karate instructor through Lanada style, Romy um, Magbitang. He told me his best black belt, his best fighter, studied from an old man who studied with Tandang Ubong.
Okay.
We found him. I studied with him. His name is Mamang Mencho for a good 3 months. Maybe I was like 16, 17 at that time. Gave me just the basics. Um, we use big, large stances like Shotokan, and it was Spade Daga. The dagger was for checking only. And so very simple, actually very similar to Lightning Scientific,
Hmm.
but with the power strikes. And then my karate instructor in Los Baños, uh, Sir Gilbert Lato, taught the Street Fighting Karate Club, which was basically Okinawan karate with concepts of street fighting.
Hmm.
And he had been taught by his uncle what he called lapu-lapu system. Again, low stances. It's a block and palusot drill, 7 strikes. So I learned that system really well. We um, and my friend, my best friend Arnel Tandang, he was the one who was uh, one of the guys who helped me try and look for different maestros.
Okay.
We met his grandfather who didn't want to teach. He was teaching a kneeling style, and he showed us once. That's it. And then he introduced us to his best friend, who was a barber, Lolo Tasio. Lolo Tasio taught Largo Mano. Weird story about him is he learned it in the Balibid. If you ever watch, if you ever watch Boyka, he
Yeah.
was
Yeah. Yeah.
Arnis to fight in these prisons. And if you win, you get your favorite food, the booze you want. If you want, you know, gusto mo ng babae,
Oh.
you know.
So it was both for survival and procreation.
He met. He was 72, a chain smoker, had a cigarette in his mouth. We couldn't touch him. So his largo
Wow.
was good, and he learned it in the Balibid. He was holding, which was weird, is he was still holding a dagger in his hand, but he didn't use it that much,
Hmm.
except for swearing,
Yeah.
you know. And he had learned a little bit of judo through books, and he would, if you came close, he'll do flesh grabs and throw you, So we, just like everybody else's story, we had to go past Ilogs,
Yeah.
go up the hill, go to his Bahay Kuba and learn. It was weird.
Wow.
I was reading this in books, and now we're doing the same thing. We would At first he didn't want to teach us because we were studying in UP Los Baños, and unfortunately UP Los Baños was known for fraternity, so that he was like,
Mm.
thinking.
Mm.
He said, mapupuso kayo mga kabataan, hindi namin kayo tuturuan, gagamitin nyo lang sa masama. So that means, you guys are just going to use it in gang fights.
Yeah.
And he didn't want to teach us.
Yeah.
And he heard that we were associated with a famous karate group in Los Baños called Las Siete Pares.
Hmm.
And they also did Arnis, but they didn't want to teach us. And so when he heard that there was a, you know, squabble behind, he didn't want to be involved. Until later on, we had to bring Arnel's grandfather to convince him. The system in the Philippines is different. Back then, you need to have a ninong to bring you to
Yeah.
the maestro,
Yeah.
and your ninong, your friend, he's older than you, like an uncle who will introduce
Yeah.
you to the maestro and say, "Hey, come on. If you trust me, I would not recommend anybody to you except for
Yeah.
these kids." And he had us bring our grades.
Yeah. You
Our,
need you need to have somebody to vouch for you, for your
so
character and
yeah,
everything. Yeah.
so that broke the ice, and so we learned his largo mano, and we did it the easy way. I would go in, I'd get hit. Arnel will watch. I learn, like, a couple techniques. Lolo Tasio gets tired. Now it's Arnel's turn. I'll watch him, and then we'll practice in front of him, and he'll make the corrections.
Okay.
Um, and then I transferred to Manila because I didn't really do good in my grades weren't really good for UP Los Baños. I'm not really good in the noggin, so I my memorization to be good. You know, and you know how UP Los Baños say you're a professor in UP Los Baños. You know this, so I won't make any excuses. So I went to I went to Manila and I studied, and I saw this kid who had a stick bag.
Hmm.
And then I said, "Hey, where do you study, Arnis?" And he said, UST po, at the grandstand. It's my PE." And I said, "So, could you tell me what the name of your instructor is?" And he went, "Press us." And I'm like, "Oh my God, I have his book."
Okay. All right.
So I happened to meet GM Pressas in a karate tournament in Los Baños, which didn't go good, but at least I got to see him. And so I ran up to him and during his PE classes, And again, I had to find me a Ninong. So
All
his
right. Yeah.
it was Sir Paul. Sir Paul was GM's best friend in PE. They were both PE instructors. GM Ernesto was teaching PE, like karate, judo
Mm.
classes, arnis classes, and so they knew each other really well. Been teaching in UST forever. And I said, "Sir, I'm looking for Ernesto Presas." He says, "Oh, let me bring you. He's my best friend. He won't say no to me."
Okay.
And Jim Ernesto was really famous for teaching a lot of foreigners at that time in UST. So people would come from Europe and America and Asia just to train with him for months. And
Yeah.
in fact, I got a discount too. So I got a discount, and back then it was a lifetime membership. So all I had
Yeah.
to do was pay for the
True.
lifetime, and I didn't have to pay for monthly.
Yeah.
So through GM Ernesto, we got to learn more Japanese arts because if you read Professor Remy's book, they went to Japan to Tokyo Police
Yes.
Academy and they introduced Filipino martial arts or arnis to the police. And part of the exchange was that they wanted to learn. Well, I know GM Ernesto wanted to learn to improve his Japanese arts.
Mm.
So he did Japanese Hakuryu Jiu-Jitsu, uh, his karate, you
Yeah.
know, improve his. He get to go to Kodokan and train some more judo. He trained Kobudo and Iaido. So when we had our I call it a passport. Our ID was red, and
I know that passport. I've seen that.
yeah, yeah. And so I asked, how can I learn the styles? And so slowly they would teach it to us, the curriculum, but not now in a traditional Japanese way,
Mm.
except for kendo and iaido.
Mm-hmm.
The judo was informal, the jiu-jitsu was informal, the karate was informal. And but I always wanted to learn Filipino martial arts
Mm-hmm.
because hey, I grew up learning Japanese arts and was fascinated by Mas Oyama and everything, but there was something about hey, if I pick up anything, then I can learn. I can use it as a weapon.
Of course.
We were known for that. The story is, Filipino martial arts can beat any empty hand. Paluin mo lang sa lulod. Or
Yes, exactly.
in English, what that means is that, hey, if you picked up something, you hit the guy in the shin, he can't walk.
Exactly. That's true. Very true.
There's no kickboxing.
Very
There's no
true.
there's no BJJ. Hey, now I'm sounding like shook.
You beat me to it, man. I was about
Diba?
to say that.
No, I mean, through GM Ernesto, he opened up the door through to teach us the Negros arts,
Mm-hmm.
and then he would be invited to different demonstrations, and we would meet the grandmasters. But come, I started in September, and the next month I started on my mom's birthday, the 16th. 2 weeks
Mm-hmm.
later, I met Tatang Ilustrisimo at our gym.
All right. Okay.
A lot of people might might believe not believe me or anything like that, but hey, I just bought uh, Edgar Sholita's Secrets of Kali Eskrima and Arnis,
The Meco. Oh.
with the payong block
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
and Tatang, Mang Ben, and Tatay Mena, and the different grandmasters were there. I just bought it. I came from National Bookstore, went to the gym. Next thing I started walking in. And I'm like, oh, he's wearing the white shirt with the chaleco and the slacks and the tok tok. Oh, di ba?
Oh yes.
Oh my God, this is Tatang Ilustrisimo. So I come up to him, I open up my book, and I said, "Hey, Tatang, is this you?" And he says, "Yeah." So what?
So what?
And it was, and I said, "Well, it's an honor to meet you. And back then the OGs didn't know what we were talking about. We were being
Yeah.
and then he just tapped me on my shoulder, and I said, "Oh, let me take care of your merienda." So I, as usual, that's what we do. We make sure that all of the guests who come to our gym, we make sure that they get their snacks, their coffee, their
Yeah.
pandesal or short.
They're well taken care of.
Yeah, and that was me. So because I was the most junior of the group, and I just started. I knew that, hey, even in my house, if you were our guest, then we would make sure you had something to drink and some merienda. And then I asked him if he came all the time, and he says, yeah, mostly MWF, and same
Hmm.
time. And then Tuesdays, Thursdays, you'll see Mang Ben. Mang Ben was there, and and GM Jose Mena would be there,
Yeah.
Letter Pilon. So I was lucky because GM Ernesto had been a successful instructor, but he's still cross training with all the
Other
legends.
gyms. Yeah.
He kept on training, and they would mention different names, GM Pecate, Estilioso, everybody, and they would find ways to get there, you know,
Hmm.
and um, and learn from them. So it hey, that was a go signal for me. You know,
All right.
I tried to make legal all the grandmasters who would say yes. So Placos man din, ayaw kong turuan. You know, FIFA when he
In,
came, he's like, I don't know, when I saw him, he was like a giant, like 6'2", but I don't
yes.
know, when he was straight, he had his favorite striped shirt, and his red pants. And when he would sit down like this and look at you from head to toe, and and uh, and I remember asking him if he would teach me, and he says, "I would not steal my student. You will have to learn from
Ah,
your instructor."
yeah.
And it's funny because they would go into the office, and it was a one-way window, and I would try and peek, but I couldn't see him. I get yelled at, you know. Tatang was different because I would always take care of them. Hey, what do you want to eat when you're done training? During, after, I try and sneak in. Mang Ben was the most suplado. He didn't want to teach us and show anything. When you came in, he'd sit down and drink his coffee. Hey, you gave it to him, so
Yeah.
that was his way of not showing anything to us.
Mhm.
And he respected GM Ernesto, although GM
Of,
Ernesto was his student, right?
of course.
And so that was, for me, it was like sayang, right? And I didn't get to see him teach, but I saw
Mhm.
him do demos all the time. It was awesome. He would switch from left to right, no effort. Sometimes you wouldn't even believe it, that he changed. And I would have to have somebody tell me, "Did you see how he switched it?" You know. But that time later on, like I told the story before to all my friends, it's like once Tatang said, "I like you. What's your name again?" And I'm like, "Man, you're on point. You got your my pandesal with my mantequilla and you my coffee, and the way I like it, man. You already know my timpla, right?" So that was my question. Tatang, can would you teach me? And he says, "Well, you need to tell Ernesto." And so I, you know, kind of like, yeah, I did. I asked him already. Just come to me to Luneta, 5:30
Mhm.
a.m. If you don't get there at that time, don't show up. Show up the next
All right.
day. But he would always be there, right? And go home around noontime. So I started my training with him in 1990, and
Mhm.
until I left in 94, almost every day. And then on the weekends. On the weekends, Master Yuli would always be there to warm us up and train us.
Mhm.
Tata would come around, show us techniques, you know. Mang Tony and Master Tupper would always come in, about around 10 o'clock, because they go to church first and then they show
Yeah,
up,
yeah,
and
yeah.
you know, and so they would do and correct, us, and we were lucky because all those guys that are now legends, they were our kuyas,
Yeah.
that, we were lucky. I was telling Kalis Pagani that when he posted GM Jose Mena's video, that, hey, remember when he used to go to our gym and tell us stories, and it was awesome because, hey, you hear their glory days,
Yeah.
show you techniques, that you'll hear, three masters, teasing each other. So that kind of stuff, um, although, to some people it can be confusing that happened, but hey, I guess you had to pursue what you wanted to learn, right? Um, there, I was lucky. I had, the now very famous, GM Rene Tongson of Tres Puntas, and
Hmm.
GM Bambit Dulay.
Yeah.
These guys are my kuyas. They would beat me up and use me as a uke. But I was the most junior, but hey, that I learned everything from
That's
them.
how you learn. That's how you learn.
They groom you as they,
Yeah.
they play by ear. They,
Yeah.
hey, that's how you approach the. Don't say that to the grandmaster. You're gonna get smacked.
Yep.
You know,
That's
until now we still. Hey, when I went home last year, we were talking to GM Rene for asking for advice. You know, they're always there for us.
mm,
And Tatang and everybody else was the same. Tatang was and Mang Ben were kind of like the consultants.
yeah.
Teachers would come up to them, and other instructors from other systems would go over there, visit them, and ask them questions. And not only because they were not madamot, they shared, what their point of view.
Yeah.
You know, I I hear it all the time. Eventually when I went home, when I went to the States, I realized how spoiled that was, because now I don't have anybody,
Mm,
right? It took me only one fare to ride the jeepney and go and meet up with all these masters, and now I don't have anybody, and so I had to eventually, be in the circuit and meet uh, GM Dave Duque and his group Kapatiran. You know, um, I met Eddie Lastra here in Vallejo. Very famous people now. Are legends here. GM Emil Bautista of Kaju Kembo took me in like family. I used to be able to, and I'm still welcome to teach over there if I wanted to. His family is I'm part of his extended family. I'm lucky. You know, so eventually, like everybody else, hey, you want to learn Jeet Kune Do, you go to Guro Dan and take his seminars, stuff like that. I did that.
that's true. That's true.
Hey, why not? You, you know, I I didn't get to train with Manong Leo Giron, but I got to meet him.
All right.
Yeah, and I was at my first Inosanto seminar, and I felt an energy in the back, and we were in the
Strong
basketball.
presence.
There's this there's this strong, force.
Yeah.
At the back,
So
my old man with his walking cane, and I'm like, you know what? I need to go there. And I left my friends, and next thing I'm Dave and Alex France. They're all following me. They're like, oh, you found Manong Leo, and I'm like, oh my God, is that Manong Leo? Because I felt them. Like, I gotta go say hi. So we took a picture with him. Um, I met his one of his famous instructors, Tony Samara, and all those guys. There's a
mm,
lot of people here in Vallejo and Stockton and San Francisco. GM Rob Castro. Master Hoven, Terry Hoven, and Carlito Bonjo. All these guys are all grandmasters.
wow.
And in Sacramento, we got Master Ruby.
Hmm.
Uh, one and hey, if you ever come to Sacramento, you got to meet them. You got to meet Coach Jordan Balsita or
I
Jordan
know,
Lagu.
man. The next time that I go to California, I really
Yeah.
need to allot time to be able to go around and meet the FMA. Yeah,
Yeah. There's GM Nito Noval and Nilo Baron and there's also Master Verandoy, Remigio
hmm,
Verandoy. He's encyclopedias of Doce Pares, man. These guys,
wow.
you know, we're lucky to have at least come closer to us is Eugene Nepange. He's
Yeah,
in Reno, 4 hours
yeah,
away. But I couldn't get a handle of him until just recently, like last year. You
yeah.
know, so lately I just been trying to teach. I'm actually I used to be one of Jim Ernesto Press's
Wicked.
students that I the circuit and teach with him.
Yeah.
In the Philippines, you know, at UST Lyceum, even CCP where I came from, and we went around, did demos almost 3-4 times a week,
Hmm.
sometimes every day on summer.
Wow.
Yeah, we we did so many demos with him that it really really helped me adjust to anybody. I can I can brag about, hey, I can blend with this guy. How did I do that? And it was because of all the
Mm.
demos that I've done with all my seniors. I was lucky that way. I didn't realize that until I left the Philippines, and I meet somebody who says, "Oh, I need a uke. Can I be your uke?" And they're like, "How long have you guys been together?" And I'm like, "I actually just met him." You know.
About an hour ago?
So being a uke, yeah, because one of the advice my dad gave me was, "Hey, when you go out there and you study, be the uke.
Yeah, that's true. Mm.
Be the partner.
Yeah,
That's how you learn. You got to feel that person's energy."
that's true. Very true.
And I think that's why FMA is very well known and BJJ and is because you can't learn much from just
Mm.
shadow boxing.
Yeah,
You
you
need a
need a
partner,
partner. You have to feel. Yeah.
right? And yeah, later on 2000, I think 2004 2005, I met GM Bear Villasin. I got introduced to Balitawak Villasin style here in our neighborhood,
Hmm.
and I eventually other Balintawak instructors like Jojo Igay who taught Bimina Balintawak, and then we would go home to the Philippines and train with GM Bobby and GM Flint, the son. You know, I've been quite known to spread his art because we started promoting him here
Yeah.
in California uh, through GM Gabe Raphael and his son and the Upakan Bara Bara group and Jojo, and then our group Armas. So we were promoting different grandmasters. We helped GM Nene not Tortal, but Nene Gabukayan of the um, gold chapter is what his Balintawak is, and we brought him over here. He did a couple seminars. I introduced him to the Kaju Kembo community. He got to teach there.
Yeah.
You know, we were all about, and I'm still all about that, promoting different masters because I can teach, yes, but it's also good to have other people know that, hey, like my neighbor's Mel, Mel Orpilla, he makes
Yeah.
these beautiful sticks, but he's also Balintawak practitioner, right? Oh, you want to learn Kaju Eskrima? I got David Duque who teaches over here. The, Kuya Mike Giron, the son of Leo Giron, is teaching in the Kaju Kembo house on Saturdays. That's what we were doing. We were helping each other out.
That's what
It
it should
wasn't
be.
about just
Hmm.
you know when you came, me and Heil, you know,
I
you
know.
came to
You took time
right.
to meet up with me.
Yeah. Why? Because man, I think I haven't seen you in 5 years.
I know.
So I right? But luckily Heil came in and we got to get together and play a little bit, right? And I think that's the mission that we were trying to do. I Truth is I didn't want to do the FMA discussion because I wanted my seniors to get known.
Hmm.
I would rather have Arnold get interviewed and do a demo with Duran and those guys and Ramon and Chris Montejo, all those guys, can help Arnold. Why? Because this is his forte. Without him, we wouldn't have known or learned how to move the way we're moving.
Mm.
Because it's with Mang Tony forever, right? Hey, kudos to GM Tom. He's in Vancouver. Go
Yeah.
visit him. If you happen to be there, KCI's Kenneth Ko will help you out. These are our teachers.
Yeah,
I
but
always
to be fair, we already had Arnold and Duran actually in FMA discussion. So you need to have the spotlight from at
I
one point in time.
I get it. This time around, it's just because you and Paul and I know Julius is mad at me because I didn't do
Sorry,
it.
Julius.
I'm not. I I was still hesitating to do this. Not
Yeah.
just,
I mean, I do appreciate, man, that basically you took the time to do this.
but
So,
that's me. I'm just a regular Joe. You come and you ask me questions. I answer everything. I don't hold back. Why? Because I was fortunate to learn. That way. It
yeah.
was hard for us to learn. You know
Mm,
this. We, we
yeah.
didn't we didn't just go and say, "Hey, I came from the States. I want to learn," and
Mm,
they just come to you. No, it took us years, and shit.
yeah.
We started in 1990. And
Yeah.
when did I learn the whole, get a whole understanding of Kiro? 2015. Ilang taon yun.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, hindi,
It's
it's not
a
about
lifetime journey. Yeah.
me, it's just the passion of it.
Yeah.
I could I could have just repackaged everything, right? Make my own name.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm this, I'm that. I studied with this and name drop, which
Mm, mm,
they, they can go to those communities and ask those guys and ask who I am. I'm part of their family.
mm.
I'm an extended part of their family, and then I try not to burn my bridges. Right?
Yep, of
Why?
course. Yeah.
Kaya ako pumunta doon because I wanted to learn the real stuff,
That's
and
true.
and it was only for my own growth, not
Yeah.
to be famous or anything.
Mm,
And that's what we were all about. You, me, Paul.
yeah.
Even Julius and those guys. We all studied that way. I'm lucky to have met Kuya Bunjo Baet, who introduced me to the maestros in Paite.
Mm-hmm.
Like I told you, my story, man, I was in Paite talking to Kuya Abunjo's uncle, and he says, "Oh, there's no more Arnis in Paite; it's all dead." The next time, the next call I get from Kuya Abunjo, because he happened to go home in 2003,
Yeah.
and it was the fiesta. I said, the banner's right there. I want to meet uh, Maestro Abunjo. And he says, "Oh, there's his uncle." And his uncle that I was talking to yesterday told me that Agnes is dead in Paite. And I'm like, "Come on, uncle. We talked yesterday, right? I told you how many hours it took me to get here." He says, "No, I don't know about that, but hey, let me bring you to his house. He's here." And then I had to make Ligo him too. It took me a
Yeah.
while to
Well,
prove
mm,
him and him to trust me. You know. Next thing you know, we're training in his Bahay Kubo. And I met Maestro Doy Baltimore. He was very, very welcoming. Like I said, if you weren't busy on your trip this April, it's been a blast for you to meet him. But you're
I'm gonna
busy.
do that over, man. It's this is very tight. This April
I,
thing. It's very
but yeah,
tight.
hey, look, Antukin ako and we met in Florida first, and then last year we were in Paite with Anthony.
Mm,
You know, so we got to. he saw me, do my thing, so we can open up what's going on. You know, bad thing about it is Antokin didn't videotape that. Sayang. But I mean, the Posadas brothers were there. They were surprised,
Yeah.
that that works. But like I said, I started in 2003, and and it's only last year that my Shudoy is opening up,
All right.
right? So it takes so much passion. I tell you the truth. Wish I was, European or an American, and went to the Philippines and say, "Hey, master, I want to learn." They'll just teach me, you know. But it wasn't that easy, right?
No.
Wasn't. Um, so I really treasure what I learn, and when I share it, I make sure that hopefully people pick it up, and I don't try and confuse them, right?
Yeah. Okay. We've got some comments here. Okay. I'm gonna start. Alvin is asking, when are you coming back to Bay Area?
Monday.
Oh, Monday. Um, then yeah, I think yeah he answered your question earlier on about the most handsome that you recently met. So that would be himself. That's you looking in the mirror. Paul said, "Sana mga chicks sa Pinas." Where are the girls at?
Bakit ako?
Now, uh, Paul asked earlier on, name all the arts, name all the FMA arts you studied, and if you learned straight from the puno, from the head. But I think you answered them. You
Oh
answered
yeah.
them. Yeah, all of
Uh,
them.
yeah, everybody I learned with like Kombatan Modern Arnis from Ernesto Presas Senior. I learned I first learned Tabimina Balintawak from Jojo Igay, but I got to train with uh, GM Bob Silver and Flint Tabimina in the Philippines.
Mm.
Got to learn from Tatang Ilustrisimo and Mang Tony of Kiro. That's why I concentrate on Kiro. Although y- I did get to, train with GM Yuli at a young age, but I've never trained his Bahad Subu, to tell you the truth.
Okay.
You know, so GM Romy Macapagal would do seminars for us in Luneta, so I got to train with him a little bit. I'm a bit slow, but he
Yeah.
was patient with me. And then
And
to
GM, Denisa, Barasubo.
Parao Subu, GM Sinisa, from the son of the founder, right? And
Yeah.
I got to learn Estocada de Campo with GM Tini Makachor,
Mm-hmm.
right? I'm lucky to get beat up by the old grandmasters. I wasn't just one of
Best way
those
to learn.
those mostradors who did this. I got beat up, and that's what I'm more proud of. They spar me. I learned from that. It was a treat. I got to learn Largada system through Cristino Vasquez, and his Ipit
Mm-hmm.
Pilipit was his own. So we went to Bacolod, and we got to meet a lot of the grandmasters, but we didn't stay. So
Yeah, yeah,
uh,
yeah.
a good seminar for us.
Yeah.
Um, I only teach what I'm really proficient at. I I, I
Mm.
I don't learn 1 or 2 days and then I try and claim it my own.
Yeah, there's quite a lot of that.
When you came from the Philippines, they'll call you. They'll call you out and say, "Hey, what's going on? Why are you teaching my style? You don't
Mm.
you never learned from me,
Yeah.
you know." And I'm not about certificates, so most of my certificates I lost. You know,
Mm.
in fact, my son just found one of them from GM Ernesto, but I was like, "Wow!" I thought, you know, because
Yeah.
we didn't believe in certificates, diplomas. Master Tony gave us one because we had some other people come from other systems asking for certificates from him. He says, "Alex, how long have you been with me?" "Sir, I met you in the 90s and I'm still with you." And he says, "See, how many did I give you a diploma?" "No, sir." "Why?" And then we continue training. And he said,
Mm.
see, we don't ask for certificates. Plus, to tell you the truth, the certificates that came from Mang Tony, most of them were just the logo
Yeah.
with a picture on it and a signature. He didn't put your title on it.
Mm.
This basically shows you that for him, that was just honorable,
Yeah.
right? Most diplomas, when you see them, will literally state on this day of the Lord, at this time,
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Ercia has
Your
been
rank.
certified green
Yeah.
belt, whatever, right? But those were just pieces of paper because when I was with Tatang, they were trying to sell me a certificate and they said, "Hey, Alex, you should get a certificate." And then I asked Tatang, he said, "Oh, you don't need that. Why? Can you block with that? Can you hit somebody?
Very true.
Hindi mo may papangsangga yan. Hindi mo may yan."
Yeah, that's true. Very true.
And you know how much that was in the 90s? Was 500
Oh yeah,
pesos.
yeah. That's very expensive, man.
Wow, 500 pesos
Mm.
was a fortune back in the day. That
Yeah,
was
that's true.
1,000 pesos.
Yeah, true.
And I couldn't
Yeah.
afford that. I wasn't rich. We were
Mm.
just making it,
Mm.
you know. And hey, and it's not true that people are still saying this. Wang Tony always charged. It's not free to learn. Okay, the old man had to make a living. So, but you give what you can afford,
Yeah. It's not a
right?
fixed rate.
You can afford. This has been an issue all this time about the Calis Illustrisimo was free back in the day. Even Tatang took money from us. He didn't ask. You
Hmm.
voluntarily gave. Why? Hey, you pay your tuition when you go to school. When you watch a
Yep.
movie,
True.
you pay for a ticket.
Yep.
You get on the jeep, you got to pay for your fare.
Yeah.
People
It's
have to
just
put into consideration that
it's just fair.
us were very hospitable people. They didn't want to. They're embarrassed, even embarrassed after they taught you years and years of training that they had to put in. This is stuff that they lived with. They that made them they survived with this during the war, and
Mm.
then you're just gonna go there and not even acknowledge that and just
Mm.
leave, thank them, and say, "Oh, now you're in the states. You're gonna teach and charge people." I'm just saying.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's true. That's true.
I, and people still make that an issue. I'm sorry, but hey, I was with Tatang, and sometimes I'd get smacked by Tatang if I forced give him money, but I would put it in his pocket,
Mm.
or I'll bring merienda or something. Buy
Yeah.
him a shirt on his birthday. You know what I mean? Because they treated you like
Like
family,
family.
right?
That's true.
It's just one of those things that people will say, "Oh, commercialized na yan, ganyan ganyan." Hey,
Mm.
I didn't want to teach myself. People wanted to learn from us because we were lucky to study with in that
Of
art.
course. Yeah.
And they wanted to learn from you.
Mm.
But at the same time, hey, how about the gas that he spent to go there? So people give you gas money
Of course.
or at least treat you to food, whatever,
Yeah.
right?
That's
But
true.
but for us like Tatang and Mang Tony and Arnold, all those guys, this is their profession, right?
Mm.
If each there should be a corresponding,
Yeah,
fee
of
to it.
course.
It has
Yeah.
to. Well, shoot, we've got repackaged martial arts and make it tactical and pay $400 for a weekend, and then
Yeah.
you got this Filipino martial artist who's teaching you the same thing, and you don't want to pay this guy.
Yeah.
You know, so for me, it's if other people still look at it that way, I don't know why they lowball the grandmasters when they go to the Philippines, or it's unfortunately just your courtesy in a way. That's how I look at it.
Yeah, it's true. That's true.
Oh,
And it's still a sign of respect to them. See?
yes.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can go out and party at and spend the money, why can't you go and train with somebody and at least give him what he's worth?
Exactly. That's very true.
Uh,
That's very true.
and when I was new and I hey, I couldn't afford learning any other martial art. When I came back to the States, I was like 27 and I wanted to study other arts. What did I do? I traded my knowledge for another art.
Hmm.
So,
Hmm.
parang, "Oh, I want to learn lightning. Here, I have these systems. Which one? You pick. Di ba?
Yeah, that's true.
Training tayo.
Yeah,
So, learn from each other. Now I have a friend, right?
exactly.
But hey, even the gymnastics coach, you got to pay to coach your kids
Oh
for.
yeah, yeah, yep. And they're very expensive. paying
Uh,
paying them anything. Yeah.
People are
Anyway,
doing
so
it.
Mark says,
Yeah,
"Good morning, magandang umaga from Philippines." Alvin said, "Finding teachers very different now." It's very true. All
yeah.
you need to do is, I mean, just go to social media. they can they can actually like uh, cold market. Um, Same, Mark said, same with my father. I believe some of all teachers will teach others before their own blood.
Yeah. Okay, you
Yeah.
talked that, right? You mentioned that. Here's in Laguna, the reason why in Calamba, Laguna, our niece is particularly not there anymore. It's sad. I'm a native Calamba, Laguna. Um, and I heard some good stories about Arnisadors from my hometown, my dad's hometown, that were these guys were the best.
Hmm.
There was nobody who preserved that art. And you know why? Because as a kid, at 16, 17 years old, we would see teachers with sticks walking down the street, getting off jeepneys, being in the market with
Hmm.
sticks in, okay? And we would follow them, stalk them to their house, and you'll see a stick hanging horizontally on their. When you ask them, Tatay, can you teach me Arnis? It's like, what's that Arnis? And then we know that stick right there is for training. And we know that when you hold that stick that way, that's Arnis.
Mm.
And you know what the next comeback would be? No, ang mga anak ko, they don't know that I do Arnis. I don't even teach my own blood.
Yeah.
I teach a stranger like you. And who are you?
Yeah. That's true.
I survive with these skills. That's the only reason why they taught it to us was for survival. You guys don't need this anymore. You're just going to use it in the gangs, in the fraternity. That's the answer we would get all the time.
Very true.
In-
Mm.
Fortunately, the word madamot is true,
Mm.
right? But hey, then suddenly you meet GM Ernesto, the Cañetes, and these guys walk the walk.
Mm.
These guys are willing to show you their skills set. Why? Because they're proud of their art. They want to share it. They know they can develop you into a fighter. It
Yeah.
makes you more disciplined and confident,
Of course.
right? It's all about that, really,
Yeah.
right? It's not about, oh, I'm cocky now. I can beat up anybody, or I'm tactical, or you know. No, it's not about that,
Nah, it's not
right?
about that. Yeah.
We're, we forget about the values about respect and courtesy and all that stuff in the martial arts. Nowadays, it's like, oh, I'm a green belt in BJ or a blue belt in BJJ. I can take out a wrestler, whatever.
Yeah.
Is that really what you study that for? Or hey, I know knife fighting and I should be, you know, teaching this
Yeah.
to the military.
Yeah. I'm a technical knife instructor.
Rep, and it's repackaged differently, but
True.
everybody who has a background in FMA, that's Filipino martial arts.
That's true. That's very true.
And the bad thing about it is that social media makes everything bad. One
Yeah.
person doesn't like that system, who will talk shit about that other system, and unfortunately, that's what's happening. Before, that used to be hush hush. You just say that in your own circle.
Yeah. That's true. And it's because before, if you try to say it in the face of that person, you get decked.
Yeah,
But now you can hide behind.
yeah. I
Yeah.
many times I've seen this in Luneta. Ano yung sinasabi mo?
Yeah, that's true. That's
Right?
true. That's
What's that?
true.
If I was talking smack about Tom, Tom would confront me in Luneta,
Mm,
or
that's true.
he'll go to that school.
Yeah, that's very true. That's very true.
So sa akin, that's one of those things that people didn't understand. Now social media can do whatever they want, talk smack. I mean, even diet. People are talking about diets. Oh, this and this and this. Oh, this. You know, I mean, hey, do what you need to do. And if you don't like the system, go study something else. But don't talk smack.
Exactly.
Use the respect. That's
Exactly.
what I mean. It used to.
Exactly.
I mean, hey, even in karate, there was that.
Hmm.
Oh, low stance doesn't work. Oh, you Shotokan guys are only sports karate. Oh, there's Goju-ryu, there's Shito-ryu, there's Shore. You
Mm.
can learn all of that. Learn Kyokushin if you want to go fight in the ring. Do
Yep.
kickboxing,
Mm.
right? And they continue. They continue the
Yeah.
tradition, right? But we were doing the same thing. Mang Tony and Master Tuper were very, very, very famous for facing those people who used to talk smack. GM Ernesto was too. You know, I was lucky to learn from fighters. You know, that's why the point of that's that's why when people used to say, "Oh, so you all know all this stuff," and then, "Oh, hey, do you spar?" And then suddenly people go, right." So I mean, it's we there's certain things that we try and do. When I go to our Sabong Federation, which is Joselito Sering's group, we spar with people. There's some beginners, so we'll give them tips, you
Yeah.
know, and we spar without ego, right? Hey, I'm 52. I got no ego, man. Maybe when I was in my 20s,
We
right?
did. We
If,
did.
if somebody said, man, I gotta come back next week.
Hit harder. Yes.
But when you're older and you're more mature, you're just like, I gotta learn from that sparring match. It's just
Exactly.
it's not killing.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's so for me that's what I'm here for. You know I don't do what I see that wrong. You know I
Yeah.
try to to be open and respect people.
Yep. That's
Uh,
what it's all about.
man, it's funny. People look at us when we spar. Me and Braulio. Braulio is a good sparring partner because no ranks, no nothing. He's gonna hit you when you cheer around. Okay. Now the beauty of it is that later on, if you do ask him what's going on with your game,
He
why
knows.
he'll tell you,
He's a
right? He'll
good coach.
yeah. And so we are all helping each other in that group. Once in a while, maybe once or twice a month, we'll get together because
Mm.
not everybody's schedule works. But hey, it's a good thing. We have Kyle Campbell who comes over. You
He
know,
is. Yeah, he is very good. Yeah.
he you know we had Alvin. Albano.
Albano. Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun. Man. We got
Mm.
I got to meet more of my KI family. Reg Pasol and Eom
Oh, that's
Spiritus.
brilliant, man.
So it was awesome, right?
Yeah.
Um, Eric Taro comes and with Heil, and you know
Yeah.
he gets to beat up everybody like we get to play, and so it's all fun and games. We get together.
Yeah.
You guys happen to be in San Francisco, look us up.
Well.
You know
Yeah. Those are the things that we need
the
to
Spark.
promote more.
Yeah, you know what? Barbecue is Steve Del Castillo's brainchild. He'll conduct it sometimes in Southern California, more over there than here. Here, Mike Ruby and Joselito help out Steve. So
Hmm.
we get to use his Bunal brand padded sticks, and he comes up with different stuff we get to play with.
Wow. Okay. I
And
think we need to have like a section in FMA discussion where you basically we have the announcements of all the sparring sessions that are happening around,
yeah,
so people can check them out. No,
yeah, yeah.
that would be a good one. Okay, all right. Let's Danny Terrell says hello.
Hi, Danny.
Uh, Arnold Narzo is in the house as well.
Kumusta?
uh,
Hi, Chad.
yeah,
Hey, Henry.
I have backlog on. GM Yuli is
Oh,
here.
Henry, kamusta?
Great. Okay, so I'm gonna start like reading some of the comments now. Tell them the story how you became ambassador to US.
Ambassador to US. Oh, so basically, basically, this is how Bang Tony is. He used to, once you get more proficient, he'll used to tell you, "Oh, hey, what are you still doing here? You should be teaching in Calamba, Laguna." And
Hmm.
um, and we felt like we were getting kicked out.
Okay.
Bang Tony has always given blessings to those he trusts, and he said, "Hey, when you go back to the States, I want you to spread the art." Um, we were lucky enough to get groomed by Mang Tony to teach and
Yeah.
not only do the motion.
Yeah.
By Mang Tony and Coach Arnold, without them, I wouldn't know how to teach. Right? We went through an old school way. The only reason why I say old school is because when I became a brown belt in our karate system of Shotokan, we became apprentice instructors and we would teach, and our seniors would watch us, including instructors, and they will make corrections on how we teach. That way, the tradition and the curriculum
Being,
is
yeah.
taught correctly. We
Yeah.
did Mang Tony from 2012 to 2015.
Hmm.
Me, Arnel, Tandang, Anton Lacaros, and TR under, you know, Mang Tony and the guidance of Coach Arnold. So
Hmm.
we were lucky, man. I'm not the only. I don't consider myself the ambassador of just keto. Hey, we got Iom here in Daly City. We got Vaste Carlos in Atlanta. We are all given blessings. Vaste
Hmm.
is 6 to are my seniors, and they're teaching over there. Coach Arnold has given authorization to other people, that are teaching. There's Warren. He's very quiet, but he's one of the seniors in who's been training with Montoni. He's in, if I'm not mistaken, the East Bay,
All right.
right? There's a lot of us, man. I mean, um, it's just people. We you never heard about me teaching KI unless I posted it on
I know.
seminars.
I know.
So basically, it's just that we were actually given the blessing,
Yeah. Okay.
and they can give you the blessing without seeing your proficiency.
Yeah, they won't. They won't. They won't.
So
Of course.
that's how it is. But
Yeah.
hey, I even have a certificate for it, and but I don't post it.
Yeah.
Like I said, we were only given a certificate. Actually, my certificate just didn't have my name on it. Mine had really broke it down that I'm a full instructor in keto.
Mm.
Something that I treasure and I don't show.
Yeah.
But for me, it's the same thing as I was training in Kombatan. You know, for me, I'm one of the people who can teach Kumbatan, but I would always tell them, hey, learn from Shelly Millspa.
Mm.
He's a genius.
Yeah.
You know,
All right. Okay. There's a comment from Paul. Ikaw nililigawan ko, ayaw mo naman. Steve Mallet said, interesting stories. Um, Alvin Albano, okay, now I know to bring you coffee and merienda when I go to see you, Alex. uh, Alvin again, taking pain and being a demo, okay, is a good way to prove willingness to learn. That is also true, Alvin. You hit it in the yep. You hit it in the head. Yep, that's really true.
yep.
Yeah. Um.
Plus, being okay, you get to feel what's really how it's done.
Yeah. And you can actually even like feel the nuances,
Yes, yes,
transitions and everything. The amount of energy that needs it to be to that needs it to be done. Yeah.
yes.
Oh, yes, Alvin. The next time that I'm in California, I definitely will and stay a little bit longer. GM Vincent Cabales is in Stockton.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I know. I haven't even. I I failed
But
to visit Ron Saturno even. So
oh,
next time, definitely, I'm gonna stay longer. Yeah, Untoken. That's what it's all about. Yep. Yep. See, GM Chad. See you this weekend.
yep, yep.
Yep. GM Yuli watching from Valenzuela. Uh, Untoken. That's how we meet. I found this bolo and Alex wants it, but he gave way for me to have it.
Yeah,
Okay.
dapat may pinuti ako eh, pero wala eh.
Yes, Maestro Doi now opened up. Actually, Maestro Doi teach us all different stuff. Oh, that's really nice.
Yeah.
Julius, yeah, test run. It's an interview already. Yeah, I know, Paul. It's just that there's so much basically to see on Alex's journey to FMA. It's almost like if I do like the just a bird's eye view now, I, I can I mean it won't basically be fair to Alex. So I had to let it out now. Uh, wag,
Kurt's
wag kang mainis, Julius.
background informs the way you teach FMA. So Kurt, it does help, but if it informs you, um, I don't know what do you mean by that, but um, FMA isn't taught formally like Shotokan. We do though teach two man drills like you know, and a lot of people don't like drills, but remember, if you repeat a technique and you keep on repeating that, that's a drill. So if
That's
we do
true.
a flow drill and we go through a sequence to teach the student how to feel the energy of your partner, your distance, your how do you read the opponent, how you do your footwork correctly, and the coordination of your whole body
That's
from
a
strength
drill.
to evasion to footwork, what
Mm.
that means, right? For me, that's in karate, like one step sparring or tai sabaki or something like
Yeah,
that, right?
yeah.
Um, one thing that Mang Tony didn't like about my Shotokan was my wide stances, so I had to make that smaller, and I would always get hit in the calf by Mang Tony and my police is Coach Arnold. So they'll put me in the corner and they'll have me do footwork and and um, Arnold is my police, so he'll watch me and I'll get in trouble every time for my big long stances. It's so funny that that's part of, but that was part of my training. And then in modern arnis in Kombatan, we would pull our strikes to the back for power.
Mm.
The reason why you do that was because in the section of Kombatan, the modern arnis system, you're playing more in the medium range. So if your hand is always here, your stick can get grabbed or disarmed. So you pull back.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's a bad habit for Kiro's sword system. So I have to remove that pulling back because I'll be open for a shot. So those are things that corrections was made. Eh, um, if I was in my stance and I would pull my weapon this way, like in karate, that's a no because
Mm.
now body is open for shots. So there was some good and bad in the Shotokan karate method, but um, adjustments have to be made.
Of
What's
course.
good It is in Shotokan Karate. When I was learning it, it was a lot of hard work and repetition. So I never got bored. I guess my generation of practitioners, because I'm 52, you know, we were used to hard work.
We were
Right?
used to a lot
We
of
didn't,
repetitions, a lot of drills.
we didn't complain. When somebody called out the work, we would do it
Yeah.
until our instructors would say, "Hey, next one." Right? So that's why when people used to say, "Ang boring naman ito. Is this all? Is this all you're going to teach us? This is boring."
Mm.
Then this is not for you. You know,
Yeah.
you should find another instructor who would teach you on the weekend and make you give you a certificate for Guro. Don't go
Yeah.
don't go to us. We're not
Mm.
that kind of people. You know, it's not that because we went through it that we expect you to go through it. It's the quality of time that you put in your time when you
Exactly.
um he, Tatang and Mang Tony and even Jim Ernesto never believed in time. It's the quality of time that when you put in your time, you did your homework at home, you can actually learn it in months.
Mm.
We're not trying to keep you on a leash.
Yeah.
That's the difference about the FMA ones that I've learned, right? Then eventually the system will evolve because our grandmasters at that time were evolving too. So he
Mm.
will add to it. But
Yeah.
they require you to learn that part of the curriculum. Sometimes no.
Yeah.
It's
And
up to you.
this is also true when it comes to motor skill learning.
Yeah.
It takes about 10,000 repetitions for it to be ingrained in your system. And that is why we always go for repetitions. And
So
that particular movement is something that you'll be able to do even under duress.
yes, yeah. And so that determination that you have to put in, the discipline and the dedication to put in. Let's say you gave yourself 6 months. If you put it that 6 months and you did that every day, dude. Hey, a Muay Thai fighter and a boxing fighter, all those athletes, it only takes them a couple weeks. Why, dude? They do that the whole day. That's
Yeah.
doing its kids.
Yeah.
We didn't
That's
go to
true.
school. We didn't go to school for school. We went to school for because we had to go and train in the gym. My schedule. This is how my schedule worked. I went to Tatang at 5:30 in the morning. My class was at 10. So after 5:30 in the morning, I would go to gym Ernesto. Then
Hmm.
I'll go to LM gym and learn some boxing. Take
Yeah.
a shower. Go to school at 10. Go back to gym Ernesto and help him teach PE classes.
Mm.
If there's no PE class, we get to learn.
Mm.
Then we go to the gym in Quiapo in our headquarters and we teach.
Mm.
And you repeat that the next day. We were
Sure.
students back then.
Yeah.
We only went to school for 4 or 5 hours.
And the rest is training.
Training. I told my dad, man, I love my schedule. Because my dad was on the ship. He would come back after 6 months and he would see the improvement. He's like, man,
Mm.
why are you guys so good at that short time of frame? Number one was the quality of teaching. We had the best
Yeah.
teachers. We were spoiled. They would teach us correctly. And if you, all you had to do was follow,
Yeah.
right? If you just listen to them and you put in the time, while you're watching TV, you can do all of these movements, right?
Yes. You can still practice. Yeah. True.
And do your workout. If you need, I was lifting weights back then too. I was a power lifter back in the
Mm.
day.
Mm.
I was putting 4 hours of lifting. In between all that training. Why? It was because I had to I had to chase my grandmaster's power and their speed. Without the supplemental training,
Yeah. Without the extra training to develop your physical attributes.
they were different. If you had Mang Ben polio, oh my god. I was asked. They were doing disarms, and they asked me to do the okay, be a okay for Mang Ben. Man, I'll tell you, man, he had power. Then he was in his 70s, well, maybe older when I met him. Even Tatay Mena, who was like what 4'11", when he pulled me, and I was what 200 back then. I was benching 300 and deadlifts.
Yeah.
was, you know, they were exceptionally really sorry.
Mm. And plus the although they don't work out like what how we do, but because they've been doing this for like every day, so they have the muscular endurance,
Yeah.
they've got the core strength to do it.
It's already ingrained in them
Yeah,
after
yeah, yeah,
that they've been doing it. They don't
yeah,
realize how heavy their hands were.
yep, exactly,
So,
exactly.
they were that was their thing, man.
Yeah,
But like I said, I had to cross train, lift weights, do all of that, and just to make it up because GM Ernesto and even Tatang had ways to manipulate the body. You know, it was fun
yeah,
because you you crave for that every day, getting slammed on the floor, or,
exactly.
you know. So that was the fun of it. Uh,
Okay, all right. So we've got a few more hellos. We've got Lawrence Eugenio from watching from Santa Rosa, California. He is a student of GM Romeo Valenzuela, lighting. He's a lighting guy. Uh, GM Ron Saturno is here as well. So he said he'd like to attend.
Steve,
Maybe
I
it's
didn't
referring.
Kaju Kembo. I'm from GM. I was just helping teach FMA in his gym.
Yep,
Hi, Anton.
yep. My friend and compare Jim Panilio is also watching.
Hey, Jim.
Abol
And
Abol Maya is also here.
hello. And Johan Bobby.
Rohan Bobby. Yep, yep.
Uh, Kuya
True
Bot.
call.
Bot Hocano. How you doing?
And Julius said, para atang full interview ito ah. Hindi lang test run. Thanks, Alex. Two, we get like 2 to 3 interviews, 2 to 3 episodes, a freebie.
Hindi na. Tama na to. Pagkatapos to, wala na.
Yeah, kaya sinagad na eh. Eric said they did so much physical work with the blade. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Hmm.
We do a lot of physical work. Yes, we did. Yeah, the story behind that was Mang Tony had two swords that was just almost destroyed in the fire when
In the
his
fire, yeah.
uh, got burned down, and so he says, "Oh, you want to learn how to use the sword? If you restore my Pinuti and my Zanzibar, it's on." And so we were lucky because Arnell and I knew some really good sword makers or bladesmiths in Pangasinan. So there was this particular Zanzibar design that he wanted, and man, it took us maybe 6 to 8 months until he like said, "Okay, this is what I really wanted in my sword." And so the return of that was he would teach us. Unfortunately, with that sword and super sharp, and he was using that on us. And the thing is, if you dinged it, then you have to restore it. But he was using a sharp sword on us. And we were using a blunt sword. We went everywhere. We went to Batangas to find pandays and all of that, just to make our trainers.
Hmm.
And Mang Tony wouldn't train us without, uh, you know, Zanzibar trainers. At that time, the network, it wasn't as big as it is now. Now you can contact anybody on Facebook and find these bladesmiths.
Yeah.
But we got lucky. We did have some Zanzibar trainers in Binondo, but they were short. So he wanted longer ones now because he wanted to train us everything from all ranges. So we did do a lot of blade work almost every day. Uh, because when we went through our training, we would do that for rounds and rounds, and there was everybody was lucky because for a while we were just hearing stories that Mang Tony would teach with the live blade,
Hmm.
and finally we got to convince him. He was in the mood, and so once we started, we just kept on, you know, giving him good feedback.
Yeah.
Fortunately, there was only one person who got a scratch. Mang Tony was so good with the blade that he can run that through your face or and through your body, and yeah, he would never. He had so much control.
Mm.
That was the best training we've had because, like I said, Heroes about or Calis Illustration was about sword, and we were lucky. Hey, Coach Arnold is the best. If you're lucky and you get to meet some of the seniors like uh, Russell Lim, and he doesn't want to be mentioned, but and you can't find him anyway. So, but he's one of the best, Russell Lim, and so those are the guys to go to if you want to learn Kiro, right?
Mm.
Uh, hey, if Mang Romy is still healthy and willing, hey, go. Master Yuli, Blade, they're still here, While
Yeah.
healthy,
Yeah. While they're still teaching.
while healthy and willing to teach, go. There's no one. There's no one truth to KI.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's true.
Hero is part of the puzzle.
That's true. That's very
I
true.
I always tell people this. I'm good. I'm good. I'm happy with what I've learned, but I got to learn a little bit from all my kuyas.
Mm.
You know, uh, uh, if you happen to be in Australia, man, you got to look up uh, Jim Ray Gala. His knowledge is exceptional. He made me understand a lot, and I still have to go back to the Zoom, but like I told you, I'm still learning. Okay, there's never it's never too late. I'll tell you this. One of the truths that I've heard from Montoni, and Montoni was what he passed away when he was 68. He was still learning from how he was teaching us. He would still blurt out, "Man, that's what the old man was doing. Thanks, Alex." Or he would play with somebody else and discover something, and here comes like a rewind, or he remembers
Mm.
what Tatang said to him, and he'll say, "Oh, that's what Tatang was saying." I'm like, "What are you talking about? You've been doing this forever. You should have known this already." No, no, no. This and when Mang Tony was teaching us, he already had bad knees,
Yeah.
but he can still move. It was weird, um, and this is a story people won't understand if they weren't there. He would have he he would be in front of you and you couldn't touch him. He had such good range control.
Yeah.
He had so much range control. He will play with you, and just when you think you touched him, you missed. That's one of the things that amazes me. Tatang did it. All the others did it, but I'm lucky to have experienced it through my
Mm.
years.
Your
So
journey.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, so you guys got to find that instructor and coach and Mang Romy and Mang Yuli is best fighting coach. Mang Yuli made the best fighters in the Sea Games.
Yeah.
Without him,
That's true.
I'm telling you, he's willing to teach. Go learn. He's
Yeah.
a encyclopedia of sparring and not only sparring, but the whole. His understanding is totally different. Everybody has a different understanding. When Tom came and he trained with Peachy and us, and he got a good point of view of everybody.
Mm.
Luckily, Tom, Mang Tony didn't ask you to teach him how to dance.
Yeah, that would have been good.
Yeah, you could have seen the footwork. Yeah,
Yeah, true. Yeah, we're gonna do some cha cha and salsa.
yeah. But
Yeah.
I mean, hey guys, it's Ki is still alive. Go learn from those. Everybody who offers Ki, you should try and learn from them. You know, I wish Manong Martin was still alive. Man, he had the medium to close range. Man, he was a drill sergeant as a teacher.
Mm.
His techniques were mixed with doce pares, but man, more of his application was actually Ki than
Wow.
yeah. So we
It's
picked up a
actually
lot.
nice when you can basically blend two systems to be able to like augment each other.
Yes,
Yeah.
we see it all the time. The FMA it has universal movements, and it's just your interpretation.
Mm.
That is it. It's based on your body type, what your position is, whatever
Yeah.
your experiences are, whatever you learn from your mentors, and then what your
Mm.
discoveries are, right? So basically
Exactly.
that, and I think it's in everything that we do.
Yeah.
So,
That's true.
and I don't know why people are still talking about what's pure and what's not. Okay, people used to say, "Oh, Tatang's stuff," nobody got his stuff. I don't know. It's still alive. All these instructors are producing
Yeah.
really
That's true.
good
Yeah.
product. You
Yeah.
know,
I mean, it's a common thing from
yeah,
one instructor. If you got like 12 students, I
really.
mean, all the 12 students will basically have their way of taking whatever they learn from you. And it all depends on their temperament, the way they fight, their mindset, their body structure, and everything. So it's always good if you, as I've said, it's always much better if you manage to find time to be able to train from all these instructors because it gives you a better understanding.
Oh, Jay's there. Hi, Jay. How you doing? And Richard.
Richard, yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh
Well,
man,
oh man, okay. This is the longest test run that I have done. 1.5 hours.
man, let's go.
um, well, at least we can get a little bit deeper with some of discussions and questions on Sunday,
Richard,
and
all
then do
your
the demo.
need to do another interview. Yeah.
But anyway, I mean, thank you, Alex. I
Yeah,
know
yeah.
you still have to prepare for your flight to Florida. Um, you can actually plug the event in Florida again before we
Oh,
go.
okay. Yeah. I'll be in Florida this weekend. We have the Combatan seminar or camp, but I'll be in Fort Myers, and hopefully some of you guys can say hi. Contact Dan Loman because we need permission for him to let you guys go. But yeah, hey, contact me. I'm there Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and I leave on Monday morning, so I'm not gonna be.
Yeah.
And Sunday I'm gonna
And
interview.
yep, the actual interview or part two. I would say part two.
Wala demo, demo. Arnold, mas maganda yung coach pagka ano eh. Right?
Lumusot ka pa.
Hindi, wala nang demo, di ba?
Arnold said, di mo pala interview yun. Akala ko interview na. No, coach, test run pa lang eh. Pero, as usual,
Eh, paano?
nagkasarapan sa kwentuhan.
Yeah. So that's it, guys. I guess I won't see you on Sunday because this is it.
So guys, based on the test run, if you got any question for Alex, just let me know. Okay? And we'll throw it in on Sunday. Yeah.
Plus, I don't know what I'm going to show you guys. You guys already seen it, right? So it's all on Facebook. Coach Arnold. What else am I going to show you? You know, it's gonna be a copy of what he does. I'm telling you the truth. I learned from him. Sige, sige.
All right. Okay. So cheers,
Thank you.
man. Thank you very much for coming over, and have a safe trip to
Yeah.
Florida. Have a nice time, and see you Sunday.
All right. Bye bye.
Bye.
Take care.
Take care, bro. Right. So there you go, guys. Thank you for watching this extended test run that I just did with Alex. Now at least you know basically why we we always tag him as the real guy, as the real person. He has so much information when it comes to like FMA in the Philippines, especially like Manila, Laguna area, and even Cebu. He knows quite a lot of the big names, okay, in FMA this time. But anyway, thank you very much. If you got any question from the test run, please message me, and we'll throw it to Alex on Sunday. Um, Enjoy the rest of your day, or yeah, afternoon, evening, or morning, wherever you are, and I'll see you on Sunday. Right, Guru Tom Peña signing off.